A North Korean defector fleeing across the border, collapsing in a hail of bullets, dragged to safety by South Korean soldiers.
For decades, North Korea has remained one of the world's most secretive countries, where cameras are controlled and the outside world sees only what the government allows. But every now and then, rare photographs are quietly smuggled across the border, revealing scenes that were never meant to be seen. These hidden images capture everyday struggles, strict control, and moments the regime tried to keep invisible. What do these forbidden photos really show? And why were people willing to risk everything just to get them out? Join us in this video as we unveil these photos that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about North Korea. Number 19. A child who refused to move. North Korea is often described as one of the most tightly controlled countries in the world. From an early age, children are taught that obeying the government comes before everything else. Every day follows strict rules, and people are expected to think, act, and behave the same way. Questioning authority is not encouraged, and stepping out of line can bring serious consequences. That is why one rare photograph caught the world's attention. The picture was secretly taken along a quiet road near Samjeon in northern North Korea. As a bus approached, something unexpected happened. A young child walked into the middle of the road and simply stood there. Instead of moving aside as everyone would expect, the child refused to budge. It may seem like a small moment, but inside North Korea, it tells a much bigger story. Open acts of defiance are almost never seen, especially from children who are raised under constant discipline. Yet, this single image captured a moment that the outside world was never supposed to witness. No one knows what the child was thinking or what happened afterward, but the photograph leaves behind a powerful question. Even in a place built on strict control, could this have been a quiet sign that the desire for freedom still lives in the hearts of ordinary people, no matter how young they are? We may never know. Keep watching to find more rare photos smuggled out of North Korea. Number 18. The soldier who ran toward freedom. Some of the most powerful images from North Korea are not about daily life or hidden struggles. They are moments when a person makes a choice that could change everything. One of the most dramatic cases captured by cameras happened at the heavily guarded border between North and South Korea. A North Korean soldier made a desperate decision. He drove a military jeep toward the southern side, attempting to escape across one of the most dangerous borders in the world. But the escape did not go as planned. The vehicle crashed into a ditch, leaving him with no choice but to continue on foot. As he ran toward the border, his former fellow soldiers followed behind him and opened fire. Despite being wounded multiple times, the soldier continued moving forward. Security cameras captured the tense moments as he reached the other side before collapsing from his injuries. South Korean soldiers quickly moved in to rescue him, carefully approaching the wounded man and carrying him to safety. Later, doctors treated his serious injuries, giving him a chance to survive. The footage became one of the rare glimpses into the extreme risks some people are willing to take to leave North Korea. But another photograph revealed an even harsher reality hidden beneath loyalty. Let's find out what. Number 17. The man who had almost nothing left. North Korea works hard to keep its everyday reality hidden from the outside world. Cameras are closely watched. Foreign visitors have limited access, and anything that could damage the country's image is kept out of sight. That is why every photograph secretly smuggled across the border carries a story that officials never wanted anyone else to see. One of the most striking images shows a thin, frail man whose body clearly reflects years of hardship. His face and posture suggest the effects of severe malnutrition, yet he still wears a military cap with pride. On his chest is the familiar badge bearing the image of North Korea's supreme leader, a symbol that many citizens are expected to wear as a sign of loyalty. The contrast is impossible to ignore. A man with so little still displays complete devotion to the system around him. Whether that loyalty comes from genuine belief, lifelong conditioning, or fear of the consequences is impossible to know from a single photograph. But the image raises difficult questions about life inside one of the world's most secretive nations. More than anything, this smuggled photo captures a reality hidden behind official propaganda. It reminds us that even when people struggle to meet their basic needs, the pressure to show loyalty never seems to disappear, revealing a side of North Korea that few outsiders are ever allowed to witness. Number 16. The camps where families disappear together. Among the darkest images and stories to emerge from North Korea are those connected to the country's secretive political prison camps. Hidden deep in remote mountain regions, these facilities, known as Kwanliso, have long been surrounded by secrecy and fear. Reports from defectors and human rights organizations describe a system where punishment can extend beyond the individual accused. Under the concept of guilt by association, entire families have reportedly been sent to these camps because of the alleged actions of one relative. Parents, children, and grandparents could all face the consequences of accusations made against someone else. Inside these camps, survivors have described harsh conditions, forced labor, and constant surveillance. Prisoners are reported to have worked in places such as mines, farms, and forests under extremely difficult circumstances. One of the most widely discussed facilities is Camp 14 near Kaechon, which has become a symbol of the alleged abuses connected to North Korea's prison system. In 2014, a United Nations investigation stated that serious human rights violations, including crimes against humanity, had been occurring in the country. These accounts reveal a terrifying reality. In a system built on absolute control, even family connections can become a source of punishment. The stories coming from these hidden camps offer one of the most disturbing glimpses into the lives of people trapped behind North Korea's walls, where survival itself can become a daily struggle. What hidden moment exposed an entirely different side of North Korea's soldiers? Stay tuned to find out. Number 15. The photo that soldiers were never meant to take life in North Korea is shaped by strict rules that reach into almost every part of daily life. Even simple moments that people in other countries hardly think about can become risky. Citizens are expected to stay disciplined at all times, and soldiers in particular are supposed to project strength, loyalty, and complete dedication to the state. That is why one secretly smuggled photograph stands out from the rest. Instead of showing a line of perfectly disciplined troops, the image captures a soldier during a quiet moment of rest. His guard is down, his posture is relaxed, and for a brief second he looks less like a symbol of military power and more like an ordinary person exhausted by daily life. It is the kind of scene the North Korean government rarely allows the world to see. Photos of soldiers are heavily restricted, and images that make them appear casual or vulnerable are especially sensitive because they clash with the carefully controlled image presented by the state. No one knows what became of the soldier after the picture was taken. Simply being photographed in such a private moment could have carried serious consequences. But thanks to this rare image, the outside world gets a glimpse beyond the uniforms and propaganda, revealing that behind every soldier is a human being with the same need to rest, breathe, and simply exist. Number 14. Punished for watching the outside world. In North Korea, control does not stop at borders or government buildings. It can reach into the smallest parts of everyday life, including the music people listen to and the shows they watch. A shocking example came in January 2024, when a Seoul-based research group, the Sand Institute, released footage that appeared to show two 16-year-old boys being publicly punished. In the video, the teenagers stood in front of a crowd wearing gray uniforms and handcuffs. Their reported crime was not violence or a political act. They were accused of watching and sharing South Korean movies, dramas, and music for several months. The punishment shown in the footage was severe. The boys were reportedly sentenced to years of hard labor, and authorities revealed personal details about them, including their names, locations, and teachers, turning the case into a public warning for others. The crackdown reflects North Korea's strict laws against South Korean culture. Since the introduction of the 2020 anti-South Korean culture law, possessing or sharing certain foreign media has carried harsh penalties. Later restrictions also targeted language, with officials attempting to prevent people from using words and expressions influenced by South Korea. These rules reveal something deeper: the fear of outside ideas entering the country. Even a song, a television show, or a simple phrase can become a threat to a system determined to control how people think, speak, and imagine a different life. But how do ordinary people survive when everyday life itself becomes a struggle? Keep watching to find out. Number 13. Surviving with almost nothing. Many of the rare photos smuggled out of North Korea do not show soldiers or government buildings. Instead, they capture ordinary people doing whatever they can to survive. These quiet moments often reveal more about daily life than any official image ever could. One remarkable photograph shows a fisherman crossing a calm lake, but he is not using a proper boat. Instead, he balances on a large rubber tire, carefully moving across the water as he searches for fish. It is a simple yet powerful image of someone making the best of what little is available. Other smuggled photographs tell a similar story. Small street markets appear on quiet corners where vendors sell fruits, vegetables, and other basic goods. Some merchants even turn bicycles or hand carts into mobile shops, carrying fresh produce from one neighborhood to another. These small businesses help families earn a living and bring food to people who need it. Together, these images reveal a side of North Korea that is rarely shown. They are not about grand parades or official celebrations. They are about everyday people using creativity and determination to overcome difficult conditions. While life remains tightly controlled, these photographs remind us that resilience can be found in the simplest acts, proving that even with limited resources, people will always find new ways to endure and provide for their families. Number 12. The photo that sparked a controversial story. Some photographs from North Korea become famous not only because of what they show, but because of the questions surrounding them. One such image has circulated widely outside the country, often accompanied by claims that people are eating grass from public parks because they have nothing else to survive on. The photograph quickly became a symbol of hardship for many viewers around the world. But the full story behind the image is far more complicated than the caption suggests. In North Korea, photography is heavily controlled. Tour guides often monitor visitors closely and may become upset when someone captures images that could portray the country in a negative way. Photos showing poverty, damaged areas, or signs of struggle are especially sensitive because they conflict with the official image the government wants to present. Whether every detail attached to this particular image is accurate remains difficult to confirm. What is clear, however, is why photographs like this attract so much attention. They challenge the carefully managed scenes usually shown to outsiders and raise questions about what daily life looks like beyond the approved tourist routes. A single picture can sometimes create a powerful conversation. It can reveal hidden struggles, expose uncertainty, and remind the world that behind every controlled image is a much more complicated human story waiting to be understood. Another photo revealed childhood innocence hidden behind isolation. Number 11. The escalator that left children frozen. One of the most surprising photos smuggled out of North Korea has nothing to do with the military or politics. Instead, it captures a moment that many people around the world would find hard to imagine. The picture was taken at the Songdo-won International Children's Camp, a place where young people from different parts of the country gather for activities and special events. For some children who had traveled from remote rural areas, there was one attraction that stopped them in their tracks: an escalator. While children from cities stepped onto the moving stairs without a second thought, others stood at the edge, staring in silence. They had never seen an escalator before. Unsure of how it worked, they watched it move up and down with a mix of curiosity and fear, afraid to take that first step. The photograph speaks volumes without saying a word. It highlights the huge gap between life in North Korea's cities and its countryside, where access to modern conveniences can be extremely limited. Something that is ordinary in many countries becomes a completely new experience for these children. This rare image is both touching and heartbreaking. It reminds us that behind the closed borders are children whose worlds can be so isolated that even a simple escalator feels like an incredible and unfamiliar invention, revealing a reality few outsiders ever get to see. Number 10. The shirt that had to be fixed. Before the camera clicked in North Korea, appearance is often treated as more than just a personal choice. The way people dress, present themselves, and behave in public is closely connected to the image the country wants to show to the outside world. One rare photograph captures this attention to detail in a simple but revealing moment. The image shows a group of students enjoying themselves as they dance in a park. At first, it appears to be an ordinary scene. Young people laughing, spending time together, and enjoying a public space. But before the picture was taken, something unexpected happened. When the photographer asked for permission to capture the moment, one of the girls noticed that a man's shirt was slightly out of place. She quickly asked him to straighten it before facing the camera. It was a small gesture, but it revealed a deeper cultural expectation. In public, people are encouraged to look neat, disciplined, and presentable at all times. Even a casual photograph must reflect a certain level of order and respect. The image offers a rare look at everyday life, beyond the usual headlines about North Korea. It shows that even simple moments, like students dancing in a park, can carry the weight of a society where appearance and public image matter greatly. Behind the smiles is a world shaped by rules that influence even the smallest details of daily life. Keep watching to find more rare photos smuggled out of North Korea. Number 9. The endless lines that became part of daily life. One of the most revealing photos smuggled out of North Korea doesn't show a dramatic event at all. Instead, it captures something that has become an ordinary part of life for many people: waiting in line. At first glance, the scene looks organized. A long line of people stands quietly, each person patiently waiting for their turn. But the longer you look, the more the photograph tells a different story. These are not people lining up for a concert or a special event. They are simply hoping to get access to basic transportation. In many countries, catching a bus or another form of public transport is routine. In North Korea, however, limited vehicles, aging infrastructure, and shortages often mean that long waits are unavoidable. For many citizens, standing in line is simply another part of the day. What makes the image so powerful is the expression on the faces of the people. There is no shouting or pushing. Instead, there is quiet patience, as if they have accepted that this is just how life works. This rare photograph reveals more than a crowded queue. It shows the daily challenges faced by ordinary North Koreans who continue to carry on despite constant shortages. Sometimes, a single line of waiting people can say more about a country than any official speech ever could, exposing a reality the world rarely gets to witness. Number 8. When cars arrived, but the streets stayed the same. For decades, many parts of North Korea had very few cars on the roads. In smaller towns and rural areas, streets were often quiet spaces where children could walk, play, and move around without worrying about traffic. But as more vehicles began appearing in Pyongyang, daily life started to change. One rare photograph captures this unusual moment of transition. The image shows children playing on a wide street, almost as if the road still belongs entirely to them. They move freely and confidently, unaware of the growing number of cars around them. For these children, the streets are not just places for transportation. They are familiar spaces where they have spent much of their lives. The photograph reveals a fascinating contrast between an old way of life and a changing city. While Pyongyang has seen more modern buildings, vehicles, and signs of development, some people are still adjusting to these changes. For children from quieter areas, the presence of cars can feel unfamiliar. A road that was once a safe playground is slowly becoming something different. This simple image captures a country in transition. Behind the carefully presented scenes of progress are ordinary moments showing how everyday people are adapting to a changing environment. It is a reminder that modernization does not happen overnight. It arrives slowly, one street, one vehicle, and one generation at a time. So, beyond changing streets, who truly enjoys North Korea's hidden luxury today? Stay tuned to find out. Number 7. Luxury hidden behind the propaganda. One of the most unexpected photos smuggled out of North Korea reveals a side of Pyongyang that many people never knew existed. Along the banks of the Taedong River, bright lights shine from modern restaurants that look more like upscale dining spots found in major cities around the world than in one of the world's most isolated countries. From the outside, the buildings appear elegant and welcoming. Inside, carefully prepared meals and stylish interiors create an atmosphere of comfort and luxury. But there is one important detail that the photograph cannot hide. Most North Koreans will never eat there. These restaurants mainly serve wealthy families, high-ranking officials, foreign visitors, and people with close ties to the government. For ordinary citizens, whose daily lives often revolve around making ends meet, such places remain far out of reach. The contrast is striking. While official messaging often emphasizes equality and shared sacrifice, this image suggests that life can look very different, depending on who you are. Opportunities and comforts that seem normal for a small privileged group remain impossible dreams for many others. This rare photograph quietly exposes a reality that official tours rarely mention. Behind the polished buildings and glowing lights lies a country where wealth and influence can open doors that remain firmly closed to everyone else, revealing a hidden divide few outsiders are ever allowed to witness. Number 6. The hotel that became a carefully controlled window. For many visitors, traveling through North Korea means seeing only the parts of the country that authorities want the outside world to see. Every detail of the journey can be carefully planned, from the places tourists visit to the people they meet. One example is the experience of staying in Kaesong, a historic city located near the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. Some visitors have described staying in a traditional-style hotel complex designed to look like an old Korean village, with restored houses and quiet surroundings. At first glance, the setting appears charming and peaceful. The buildings, courtyards, and traditional design create the feeling of stepping into another time. But behind this carefully created atmosphere is a strict level of control. Guests are often closely guided, and independent exploration outside approved areas may be restricted. The result is a carefully managed experience where visitors see a small, controlled version of everyday life. The hotel itself becomes part of the presentation, a place designed to show a certain image while limiting what outsiders can discover. This rare glimpse reveals one of the biggest challenges of understanding North Korea. Even when visitors are physically inside the country, they may only be seeing a carefully selected version of reality. Behind the walls of these controlled spaces lies a much larger world that remains hidden from most outsiders. What happens when even childhood is sacrificed for survival and duty? Let's find out. Number 5. When childhood is replaced by work. Among the rare photos smuggled out of North Korea, some of the hardest to look at are the ones showing children at work. Instead of classrooms, playgrounds, or family outings, these images capture young boys and girls helping in fields alongside adults. One photograph shows children working with a farming collective, carrying tools, and taking part in tasks that seem far beyond their age. Rather than spending their day playing with friends or learning new things at school, they appear focused on helping with the work that needs to be done. The image raises difficult questions about what growing up is like in parts of North Korea. In communities facing food shortages and limited resources, every pair of hands can become important. Childhood, for some, is shaped less by games and more by responsibility. The photo is powerful because it captures a moment that feels both ordinary and heartbreaking. The children are not posing for the camera. They are simply going about their day, unaware that their lives would one day be seen by people around the world. This rare glimpse reminds us that behind the country's closed borders are children whose daily experiences can be very different from those in most other nations. It is a quiet but unforgettable image of resilience, sacrifice, and a childhood shaped by the demands of survival rather than carefree moments. Number 4. The fisherman who turned a tire into a boat. Some of the most powerful photographs from North Korea are not dramatic scenes. They are simple moments showing how ordinary people adapt to the challenges around them. One such image captures a fisherman on a small lake along the road to Wonsan. Instead of sitting inside a traditional fishing boat, he is floating across the water using something far more unusual: a large tire. At first glance, the picture may seem almost unbelievable. A tire is normally meant for roads, not rivers or lakes. Yet in this quiet scene, it has been transformed into a tool for survival. With patience and skill, the fisherman uses what he has available to continue his work. The photograph reveals a side of North Korea that is rarely shown. Beyond the official images of cities, monuments, and military displays are millions of people living everyday lives and finding creative solutions to ordinary problems. This single moment tells a larger story about resourcefulness. When supplies are limited, people often learn to make the most of whatever is available. A simple object that others might throw away can become something valuable in the hands of someone who needs it. The fisherman on the tire represents a quiet form of resilience, a reminder that even in difficult conditions, people continue to adapt, work, and find ways to move forward. But another hidden photo exposed cracks in North Korea's perfect image. What could it be? Stay tuned to find out. Number 3. The broken bus that revealed a hidden reality. In North Korea, images can carry a surprising amount of power. A simple photograph of a damaged vehicle, an empty street, or signs of hardship can challenge the carefully controlled image the government wants the world to see. That is why one rare smuggled photo became so revealing. The picture shows a group of soldiers pushing a broken-down vehicle along the road. At first, it may look like an ordinary moment, but inside North Korea, scenes like this are rarely shown publicly. Official images usually focus on strength, progress, and national pride. Anything that suggests weakness or economic struggle is often kept away from public view. This photograph tells a different story. It shows that even within a country that presents itself as powerful and advanced, everyday problems still exist. Number 2. The photo that broke the perfect image. In North Korea, public images are carefully controlled. Government officials, leaders, and representatives of the state are expected to appear disciplined, powerful, and completely dedicated at all times. Photographs that show them in an ordinary or unflattering moment are rarely allowed to exist. That is what makes this image so unusual. The photograph reportedly shows a North Korean official sitting inside a Christian church, appearing to have fallen asleep on a bench. On its own, it may seem like a small and harmless moment. After all, even powerful people can become tired, but in a country where public appearances are carefully managed, even a simple image like this can become sensitive. Officials are normally presented as symbols of strength and authority. They are not supposed to appear distracted, exhausted, or vulnerable. Images that show them as ordinary human beings can challenge the carefully created image of perfection. This rare photograph offers a different perspective. It captures a brief moment when the person behind the official position appears less like a symbol and more like a regular human being. The importance of the image is not the fact that someone fell asleep. It is the reminder that behind every title, uniform, or position is a person with normal human limits. In a society built around controlled appearances, even the smallest unplanned moment can reveal something the world was never meant to see. Number 1. The hidden markets that changed everyday life. Among the rare photographs smuggled out of North Korea, some reveal a side of the country that challenges the image of complete control. One of the most fascinating examples is the rise of unofficial markets, known locally as Jangmadang. For years, private trading was heavily restricted, but as many ordinary people struggled to find basic goods, they began creating their own ways to survive. These markets became places where citizens could buy and sell items that were difficult to find through official channels. A smuggled photograph from one of these markets shows a scene filled with activity. Small sellers gather with goods ranging from snacks and clothing to household items and other everyday necessities. What was once considered an act of defiance slowly became an important part of daily life for many families. These markets represent more than just buying and selling. They show creativity, adaptation, and the determination of ordinary people trying to improve their lives. What do you think about these rare photos from North Korea? Let us know in the comments section below. In the end, these rare photographs remind us that behind North Korea's closed borders are real people, real struggles, and untold stories. If you found this journey meaningful, like, subscribe, and join us for more stories that reveal the hidden world around us.